So this is, I don't know, part 7 I think now. They're all running together in a blur. I've started wiring, and this is kind of the slow and tedious, but not really too bad part. So I've got 6 colors of primary, the red one's in there on the dash. Most of the night I spent wiring the electronic gas pedal, which I'll show you inside. These coming from the DME are things like alternator charge indicator, oil pressure for the cluster, the cranking signal for the ECU from the C101, fuel pump, which I just did. I'll show you the EKP since that's a little tricky in the S54. It's different than the other swaps I've done, like the M52 and stuff like that. I did get the O2 sensor harness in here. I have these labeled as rear. I'm not sure if that's correct. I'm going to plug them in, get it all ready, and open up the computer and see if that's front or rear. If they are rear, I'll just clip those off and take out the other plugs that are sitting just inside the glove box. But since the pyrometer is down here, I'm just not sure. I'm going to have to be a little careful because there is a 2-wire sensor here that I absolutely do need. I haven't done anything over on the C101 side just yet. So in here is where all the real fun stuff is. I'm actually gonna pause the video for a second and turn on the light on this camera here, show you a little bit better. Okay, so this is the mess inside the car. So, got the DME here. It's got, let's see here, 5 plugs on it. X6000 or 6001, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is just a junkyard computer that I had tuned, and lots and lots of fun stuff. So harnesses all over the place. This is the 6001, 0002. This one, I guess I should go over the rough function. This is this main power and ground for the ECU here. This is mainly oxygen sensors, pyrometer, but it also has the pulsed signal for the US market EKP fuel pump, which is this black purple wire right here. That guy goes all the way up to the EKP, which is a module I'll show you in a second. That is a little tricky because it's not on the engine harness, so you don't usually get it with your parts when you're doing this swap. You will get the fuse block, the blue relay, and the mint relay. But this right here, the black tall one, is the EKP. It has an 8-pin, and there's a pin out online for it, but this relay holder is a little bit tricky to get hold of, and the pins are as well. So, for that, the big pins, there's your part number, 61130007439. It actually comes with a little bit of wire on it. You can order just the bare pins, might be a better idea, so you can run a little heavier gauge wire. Oh, here they are, heavy gauge wire. There's the part number, 61130007438. So that's got the thick loom with the, looks like the, well, I can't tell if that's the bigger the little connectors now. Let's see in there. That might be the little guys. Either way, I'd order both of those just to be safe. Then you can order just the straight up pins. I bought everything on the list just so I would have it. These are big pin only as the part number for that. And these are the little guys. So this is for the EKP trigger signal, and I believe one of the power, I think it's the switched power, uses this one. So get yourself a whole stack of those on a primary wire. They're pretty easy to manipulate, even if you don't have the specialty tool. One of these is really handy to find. It brings these 3 huge power wires into just one. You can clip that off any E46 really. This right here, I'll have to look into the functions on these. I can't remember what they do, but I cut the chassis side plug off the parts car again. So let's see here. Yep, the purple brown or black wire that's for the EKP. That comes up, goes into pin 1 on that thing. Pin 2 goes to the fuel pump, 3 is empty, 4 is empty, 5 is empty, 6 is constant 12 volt. That's the power feed for the pump. 7 is ground for the relay, and 8 is switch to 12 volt. So ignition switch to 12 volt. That's the pin out for the EKP. You can find most of that in here. The switch 12 volt and the constant is already in this loom. Feel free to just go ahead and use it. There should be a separate fuse in here that that's empty. You can put a fuse in there too if you have the proper connectors, which you do if you bought them for the relay holder. Let's see. This plug here you don't have to touch. That is the big one, X6003. That's all engine harness functions. This is the 6005. That's ignition coils. And this is the X6004, which is kind of a finicky one. This is actually cut off of a 2002 330i, so I had to do a lot of depinning, repinning. With some ETMs, but it really wasn't too bad. This contains your electronic throttle pedal. It contains your switched ignition power for the ECU. It contains your OBD2. It's not your K-line. Actually, it is your K-line. It's not your CAN bus, which I took out. And a couple of things. I think the sport mode button's in here. So this is an important plug. Most of the stuff in it, normally on an S54, you can take out, because a lot of it's for steering wheel controls and air conditioning compressor. Pardon, hiccup. So, I've got the 6 wires off here. They run down into this plug here, which I also cut off a parts car. And that goes straight to this electronic throttle pedal, which if you get the bracket with the car too, bolts right in where the kickdown switch or the dead plate is on an E30. So it actually fits really, really well. Just have to run this through the dash, which is time consuming, but it's really not too terrible. The harness I showed you guys last time sitting on the floor for the oxygen sensors is right here. It's this guy with all the relays on it. The part I have up here goes up there, has got all 4 of the O2s on it and the EGT. And the one over here, I believe this is just for transmission, or maybe it's secondary air pump. Either way, I'm pretty sure I don't need it, but I'm going to look through the ETM first just to read the wire colors and see. That'd be nice if I could just clip all that off and bury it, because all this has to basically sit in the glove box, and it's going to take a lot of tidying. The relays you can run under the hood if you need to. I'm going to try to keep everything in the glove box, just because I really don't use my glove box. And it keeps everything just looking a lot more fresh. Let's see here. I'll pop back underneath just to see if there's anything I've done in the meantime, but I'm pretty sure it's just wiring for now. Another thing I found, the E30 uses a single pin temperature sender for the gauge cluster, and this is the best place I think on the S54 to tap for it. This is supposedly an M12 by 1.5, which is what I tapped it as, but it won't thread. So I'm going to look at that again more when I get home and try to figure out what's going on there. But that needs to be gone through a little bit. I just need to clamp this on. I need to get my radiator mount on here, which I brought from home since it used to be zip ties. I've got the new clutch hose here now. I really have to go do that master cylinder, but at least it showed up. Along with, sorry for the shaky video, this little piece, which slides from the end of that clutch hose into the master cylinder. Stupid little part. You get this at the dealer and it's like $20 or $30. This was $6 or $7 from Euro. Not the highest quality in the world, but it's more than enough for a part that sits under your dash. I would trust it for sure. And then I'm just going to go ahead and do a new clutch master cylinder as well while I'm at it, because it's all got to come out anyway. I still have to do the actuator rod for the brake clevis and all that, so yay, more fun. I still have to put the idle air motor back in. I'm just noticing there's a hole in the dipstick tube that I've got to tend to. The old bracket, that's not fun. I don't know, there's a lot of little stuff, but I'm getting there, just sort of mulling it through and making a list of stuff as I go that's still needed. So today's wiring, next time it's probably still going to be more wiring, and that's most of what's left. I think everything's bolted in. I still have to make an exhaust for it, but that's not as crucial until springtime. Oh yeah, I'm still waiting on a threaded rod for the master cylinder. Since the booster delete obviously doesn't have a, what you can call this thing, I think it's a clevis. I have one of these off of another booster, and I'm waiting on just threaded rod to make the push rod for the master cylinder. So once that shows up, I can do that. Finally get the brakes bled, because right now can't really do anything. Even the pressure bleeder I can't use because the clutch master cylinder leaks. Lots of fun. Fun thing of the day, genuine BMW harness tape. You can make every one of your wiring jobs look just as good as the factory wiring if you try hard enough. So I'll be going through a lot of this with a fine-tooth comb and that tape after I'm done. But yeah, I think we're still on track to get this thing fired up and hopefully starting to vet it within a week or week and a half or something like that. So stay tuned.